$8, you guys, an $8 foundation. Trust me when I say it's so pigmented. Don't overdo it. Don't overdo it. So freaking expensive. Hi you guys, welcome back to the Clean Beauty Code. I'm so excited for this video because we're doing something crazy. Well, actually, it's not crazy. Whoa, where's that hair come from? You see the hair flying around? That's definitely my dog's hair. We are doing something a little bit crazy. Well, not really crazy, but like something that's like blowing my mind. We are doing my kind of wrap up of makeup. So we are doing my clean makeup favorites from 2022, and this is going to be called the Clean Beauty Code Awards. That's what we're awarding things to certain things. And I have a ton of stuff that I want to talk about, so I don't want this intro to be too long, but I can't believe the year's over. That's wild. What a ride. What a roller coaster. Can't believe it. I just feel like it just feels like this year went by so fast, but I feel like I say that every year. I bet everyone says that every year too. It's like, how is time going by so fast? But anyways, I digress. Let's jump into this. Grab a snack, grab a drink. I have my coffee because I need to be so caffeinated today. I have so much stuff to do. So grab your stuff and let's get into this video. So if you're excited for this video and more videos like this, then please like and subscribe. And without further ado, let's get into my clean beauty favorites from 2022. First, let's get into brows. Now, I feel like none of this is really going to surprise anybody, but if it does, you must be new here. You must be new here. So my favorite brow gel of the year, and just by far the best for me, has been the Rose Inc Clear Brow Gel. And I love this stuff. It has great hold, but it's not super jelly. It has a great, like a good size brush, so I feel like it really gets in there, holds all day, but it doesn't again look jelly, has kind of a flexible hold, but your brow like hairs stay in place. It's really, really good. This is probably my third one this year. I'm a really big fan of this. So next, let's move on to brow pencil. So I have two favorites from this year, and I feel like no one's going to be surprised. Number one, these are the PYT brow pencils. These are amazing, and these are also a really affordable price, which is awesome. And they are really, really good. So I use a bunch of different shades. My most used shades are the shade Taupe and the shade Chocolate, depending on kind of how dark I want my brows to look. But they're so good. They're super, super not super waxy, but they have a waxy consistency, so they don't budge, but they don't over apply pigment. I have a problem a lot of the time with brow pencils applying too much or being too pigmented to work with, because it ends up looking Sharpie brow, and that's just not great. As much fun as Sandy Cohen was on the OC, I'm not trying to replicate his brows. It's just not cute on me. So these are really, really great. And what's also great is if you have a little bit more of an ashy hair tone, or you have no warmth to your hair, which I really don't have any warmth to my hair, there's no red in these that I have found. They're really, really good. Okay, next. Ooh, things flying all over the place. Okay, next, let's go on to the next brow pencil. So I have this from Westman Atelier. This is their, what is this called? Their Bon Brow Defining Pencil. I wear the shade Bark in this. This is so good. This is in the same vein to me as the PYT, but this is actually, this one product has lasted me an incredible amount of time. I'm gonna look up how long and put the amount of time somewhere on the screen that I've had this, and I haven't run out of this, and I still have a ton of product left. This is great. There's a spoolie on the end here, and it's kind of like a slant, so if you have really skinny brows, this might be a little bit tough to use, but it has like a point at the tip, so it's still like you can kind of draw hairs. I can still draw hairs with this. I feel like it looks really natural. The shade Bark is great. There's no red undertone in this. This lasts so long. The PYT and the Westman Atelier, in terms of the way that they last all day, they are so long lasting. They have that same consistency where they're not super pigmented. They have that waxy consistency where it lasts all day and literally doesn't freaking budge. But also it's such a good one. And this, although it's expensive, I believe this is $38, this has lasted me way longer than any of my other brow pencils. So for that reason, this is definitely worth it in my opinion, because I like running out of this is like basically feels like it must have been at this point, I feel like it's been 8 or 9 months since I've gotten this, and with other brow pencils I would have had to buy multiple like more than 2 in that amount of time, because brow pencils usually run out really quickly. Next, let's move on to complexion products. So first, let's talk primer. So I feel like no one's going to be surprised by that. This is the Cover FX gripping primer. This is a great primer. I love this. This holds your makeup in place all day and has a tacky feeling to it, but it like isn't too tacky. I don't know how to explain it. Like, it just holds everything in place. It's a nice jelly kind of consistency. This is really good. The other gripping primer that's really good if you don't want to pay for this one, because this one might be a little bit like, it's more on the expensive side, or not super expensive, but it's like more on the expensive side. The LYS Beauty gripping primer is also great. This is awesome. I love this. I've used this a ton, and if you're looking for something for like an event, or if you're doing your makeup for your wedding, this is the one I recommend by far. If you're a fan of the Milk Makeup Gripping Primer or Hydro Grip Primer or whatever, this I find to be way better than that one, and this doesn't like ball up like that one does, and like pill and stuff. This is really good. Okay, next let's move on to a different primer. So this is the Exa Beauty, what is this called? The Jumpstart Smoothing Primer. This is such a good primer. This, again, like I've said this a million times, makes my skin look like I've had a drink of water, and that's rare for me because I don't drink any water. And it just makes my makeup look so good. It also makes my makeup last longer, but the way it applies, it just makes my skin look so amazing. This is so good. And if you can get your hands on this, I know this one sells out often, but if you can get your hands on this one, it's super good. I love Exa Beauty in general. Okay, so the next, let's move on to complexion. I have a bunch of products. We're gonna go kind of by category. Let's start with like traditional kind of style foundation. So the first one I want to mention is the Exa Beauty foundation. I love this stuff. I wear the shade 270 Rebecca in this, and this is such a good foundation. It kind of combines all the things that I love in all the other foundations I love. It has looks really natural on the skin, but gives coverage. It's like a medium coverage product, but it doesn't look apparent on the skin. It gives a beautiful finish. It isn't super dewy, but it isn't matte. It gives like a really nice, almost satin natural finish to the face, but you can get like a really glass-like looking complexion if you want, depending on how you prep under the skin. It works well with everything I've used this with. I love this. It's just so good, and the shade range is incredible. I highly recommend checking out this foundation. Like, this is so good. It photographs beautifully. Like, it's so good. So good. Next foundation, the Haus Labs foundation. I really like this. I know this is a newer foundation for this year, but this is by far, like, if I had to pick, first of all, most grabbed besides the Exa Beauty foundation, but also like the one that's impressed me the most, it would be the Haus Labs foundation. I wear the shade 330, what is it, medium cool in this. This is so good. I did a whole review on this, so I'm not gonna like yab on really, but this is incredible. Skin looks amazing. Apply it with your fingers or a brush is my kind of advice. I feel like when I applied it with a sponge, I didn't love the texture it gave my skin. But I can apply with my fingers or a brush and then blend it out with a sponge, and I love it. It's just so good. And again, the shade range is incredible here. And this is definitely a little bit on the pricey side, but this is definitely worth it. Photographs beautifully and just gives you a beautiful complexion. I will say though, if you are a little bit on the oily side, I would definitely make sure to powder this foundation. It's not insanely dewy, but it does give dew. And if you have that, I would just set this or use a primer that's kind of mattifying, but this is really good. Okay, next let's move on to 6 foundations. I have 2. So the first one is the Westman Atelier. What is this called? The full name. The Westman Atelier Vital Foundation Stick. This is really good. I like this a lot. I wear the shade X in this. This is an incredible foundation. It is so creamy, so natural looking, blends into the skin, looks like nothing. And this is really a dummy proof product because it blends out beautifully with a sponge, with your fingers, or with a brush. I prefer kind of blending this one out, or stick foundations in general, out with a brush. I just find it easier, but it blends out beautifully. I'm always happy with my complexion when I wear this, and I feel like this really, because of the natural finish, is just so incredible, and it just disappears on the skin but gives you some coverage. I would say this is more medium coverage, like light to medium coverage depending on how much you apply, but you can build it up to be more, but I just like this kind of as more of a light to medium coverage. And you can use it under your eyes. You can also just use it to pinpoint. Really good, very versatile product. Very expensive though, very expensive. This is it's 30, girl, no, $68, which is banana sandwiches crazy. I know, but honey, what are you gonna do? Okay, next, let's go on to an affordable foundation stick that I discovered this year that I'm obsessed with. The Thread Beauty, what is this called? Thread Basic Complexion Stick. I wore the shade 70 Tan Neutral in this. I've tried this on a video if you want to see. I do believe that this might be a little bit dark for me, but I do really like this. This is such a good product. This is more of a true, like, medium coverage. It just like goes over the face. It is so beautiful. The shade range is incredible. Goes over the face. I don't even know what that means, but it just kind of glides over the face is what it meant, and it just looks beautiful on the skin. The wear is beautiful. It's creamy. It doesn't get super dewy or anything like that. It gives a really pretty, like, natural to dewier finish, and I really enjoy this. And this is up of $8. $8, you guys, an $8 foundation. This is incredible. Like, this is so good and so worth it. And I believe that you can buy this not just on their website, but I do believe that they are available at Ulta. Really, really good. Okay, next let's kind of move on to more skin tinty items. So I have two more traditional style skin tints that I want to mention, and they're kind of for different reasons. So the first one, I feel like no one's going to be surprised by, the Tower 28 tinted sunscreen. This is so good. I wear two shades in this, the shade 45 Silver Lake and the shade 40 Runyon. These are amazing. Beautiful complexion. It always looks so good. I always get compliments when I wear this. It just gives me the perfect amount of dew. It's just such a good product, and I feel like it plays well with so many different skin types. And there's so many different people with different skin types that love this product, and you can kind of build it up to be more medium coverage, but you can also get light coverage, so it's versatile. The shade range is really, really good, and I'm really impressed with this product. I love this. So then next, for another more traditional skin tint, the Amico Lay skin tints. I love these. So what are these called? The skin enhancing tints. And this is specifically for my folks of color out there that struggle finding products that give you the right undertones. These are great. I love Amico Lay. I've mentioned these on my channel 1 million times, and I can't stop and I won't stop. They're so, so good. They give you like a perfect glass skin, like complexion, and they always make you look really healthy and youthful. And again, the shades are kind of unmatched here. They do undertones so, so good. I don't know, everyone else needs to catch up on undertones specifically for darker complexions. These are really, really good. I'm a very big fan of Amico Lay in general as a brand, and I do believe maybe by the time this video comes out, they are going to be available at Sephora, so definitely check them out. We love to see that. A female-owned brand that just launched and then kind of went into the stratosphere. And I do believe the founder worked at Glossier for a while. If I'm correct, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure she worked at Glossier for a while. And like, I'm just unbelievably impressed with the brand, and I cannot wait to see what they do next. Anyways, I digress. Next, let's move on to more liquidy skin tints. So these are newer, both of these, but I'm very impressed with them, and there's nothing that I've seen so far that kind of measures up. So let's talk about it. Westman Atelier, their complexion drops, these are so freaking good. I wear the shade X in this again. I've tried this on in a bunch of videos. This is so good. This is so good. It just melts into the skin. It makes your skin look so natural. It feels like skincare. It literally is incredible. And it gives you a dewy complexion, but I love that. It makes me look so healthy. If I set it with a little bit of powder when I'm feeling a little bit greasy, because let's say I prep my skin with oil or whatever it is, this just sets up and lasts all day. It is so freaking good. Again, so expensive. So expensive. So freaking expensive. This is $68 as well, but I honestly, like, this is going to be, I'm predicting this now. I'm saying this now with my dang chest. This is going to be one of a product that I love for next year as well. Like, this is so good. Okay, next, if you like something more sheer, more really, really natural looking, this is the Summer Fridays So Dirty. This package is so dirty. This is the Summer Fridays Sheer Skin Tint. If you're someone that didn't love the Rose Ink, like their more sheer skin tint that they came out with, which I wasn't the biggest fan of that. The shades to me were a little orange, but I also felt like it went a little bit patchy on my skin. This is a great alternative. Melts into the skin. This goes sheer to light coverage. Melts into the skin, makes my skin look so healthy. If I do this and I do like the rest of my makeup like normal, it literally looks like I had like so much water. I'm so healthy kind of vibes. Really, really good. Okay, next let's move on to concealers. So I have a bunch of favorite concealers, and I kind of want to like focus on the ones that I definitely grabbed the most but impressed me the most. So first, I feel like no one's gonna be shocked by this, the Rose Ink Concealer. I actually did, this is a new one because it ran out. This is the shade LX100. This is my true skin complexion color. If I want a brightening shade, I go with LX90. This is so good, melts into the skin. You can wear it without makeup and it's not like apparent under your eyes, like where it looks makeup-y. It doesn't look makeup-y when you blend it out. It has the perfect amount of hydration, but it also isn't like the thinnest consistency where it like kind of sinks into fine lines or anything like that. By far for me, this is the most standout concealer of 2022 and my most grabbed concealer of 2022. It's just so good. It's just so good. I love this concealer, and overall Rose Ink for a majority of their products really impressed me. I mean, there were some that I could kind of take or leave, but this is like really good. Okay, next let's move on to this one. So this is a newer one, but like by far is so good, and I've gotten so many comments that you guys are obsessed with this concealer, the Cool Feet Concealer. I wear the shade Mango Drop in this. So good. This one actually has more of a sheen to it under the eyes, which is amazing, because if you do a really dewy complexion, sometimes you want your under eyes to kind of match energy wise and not be more natural looking under the eyes, because then it doesn't really, sometimes it doesn't really match and you look a little cray cray. Not always, but sometimes. This is really good. Doesn't sink into fine lines. It has perfect coverage. So this, the Rose Ink Concealer is more medium plus coverage, whereas this is a true medium coverage concealer and just covers my dark circles. It's just such a good one, and it doesn't make my under eyes feel tight. I find that a lot of concealers have, like, that used to be popular and are still kind of popular now, like Tarte Shape Tape and stuff like that, have really made my under eyes scream. Because like, why are you so dry? Why my under eyes so dry? You know what I mean? Not the vibe. Okay, next, let's move on to something more full coverage. And this is like my favorite concealer of all time, the Cover FX Concealer. This is their Power Play Concealer. I wear the shade N Medium 2, and I also have N Medium 3. So good. It's so good. It's the perfect coverage, and you can wear it without any foundation or anything on your skin. It is such a thin consistency, but it's not so thin, not such a thin, it seems kind of like it's the thinnest thing on earth. There are thinner concealers, but it's such a thin consistency that like it like doesn't sink into, it like is invisible when you blend it out, but it doesn't sink into the fine lines. It isn't that thin, but it's so freaking good. Amazing coverage. Again, it doesn't leave my under eyes tight. If you're looking for an alternative or an amazing, like basically a dupe, but like better, because like this is so much better than Tarte Shape Tape, then check this out. I know they've been sold out for a while in a lot of shades, so I'm hoping they come back in stock soon because mama needs a new one. Okay, next let's move on to color correctors. I get questions about color correctors all the time. This is one I've been testing for a long time and I really like it. The Exa Beauty Color Corrector, and I wear the shade Deep Peach. I do want to grab a lighter shade of this just for like when I really want to kind of mix them together and kind of get a different shade, but this is amazing. You put it under your eyes, the smallest amount, you guys, or you're going to look crazy. The smallest amount, you tap it out under your eyes and it just doesn't move. It like holds on for dear life and doesn't budge, and that's amazing. It is so good at color correcting. I'm a huge fan. I have not found other color corrector anywhere. Like I know NARS has one. I know a ton of people that make color correctors, like the old Becca one. I mean RIP Becca, but like the old Becca one people love. There's a bunch that people are like, oh, this is so good. But there has literally been nothing in my mind that is a better consistency than the Exa Beauty one, because it's a thin consistency. It doesn't move. It's so thin. It's so thin. It literally like disappears in terms of like consistency into the skin. It's so good, and it plays well with so many concealers. I love it. Okay, next. My all over the face concealer. No one's shocked by this. It was my all over the face concealer favorite last year. The Merit Beauty Foundation Concealer Stick. For all over the face, my shade is Buff. And then if I do want to apply it under eyes, it's not my go-to for under the eyes, but it is great. Then I go with the shade Sand, a little bit of Sand, because it like brightens it up a bit. But this is so good. It doesn't budge, doesn't make your mascara run, doesn't crease. I just have nothing, like everything, it's just so good. And then when you pinpoint around the face, which is what I like to do with this, it covers up my hyperpigmentation almost literally perfect. Like even the darkest marks, it covers it up amazingly, and it just makes my skin look flawless. I am such a big fan. Okay, next let's move on to something else I kind of use for complexion or in my complexion products. These ones here, these are the Versed or Versed, I always pronounce this name wrong, Moonlight Glow Drops, and these are amazing if you're a big fan of products that kind of just give you a little bit of a sheen under the skin, or you want something kind of like the Elephant Dew, like those glow drops, the bronzing drops. The Versed in the shade Bronze is a great alternative. These are great. I sometimes mix and match them. If I want something that's very much like neutral to my skin, I go with this shade, which is the shade Golden. Blends into the skin beautifully, gives me a great complexion, and works well with all my foundations, which is really good. These are really good. They're super affordable, and like, I don't know, I'm super impressed by these, and these are really good even if you want to put a couple drops in your moisturizer and kind of just put it all over your face and give yourself a little bit of something, or you want to use this on top or underneath. This is so good. I've also used this on top of foundation. I prefer this underneath foundation, but you can do that too. Really good. I'm a really big fan of these products. Okay, so then next let's move on to highlight. So I have two highlighters that I loved the most this year, and I just feel like are just amazing. And I know a lot of other people agree with me, especially with the one I'm about to talk about, the Rose Ink highlighter, specifically in the shade Prismatic. I've used this a million times on camera. Can't get enough of it. It's so freaking good. It just melts into the skin. It is subtle enough that like in person you don't look crazy, but it's like gives enough on camera. I don't know how to explain it. It's just so beautiful. And from gone are kind of the days, not always gone are, but gone are kind of the days of like the really, really intense highlighter on me. I used to go crazy. Like the Anastasia Beverly Hills, the really intense one. I mean, there were so many. The Becca highlighters, I mean, still love those. They're great, but also RIP Becca, because like, come back. But like, gone are the days of me going super intense for every day. So this is such a good one for every day for me, because I don't want it to be quite so apparent on my skin. Because I also think a lot of the time highlighters back in the day, oh my God, I'm 100 years old, but back when highlighter was like it was it. That's all people like wanted to dip themselves in, specifically when Becca came out with the Jaclyn Hill highlighter, Champagne Pop. Sometimes it would be so apparent, like it didn't disappear when you put your face forward. Besides like being in the light, you want to see it, but when you go forward, you want it to kind of disappear and not add a cast. It was like they were like too much. So I like something like this. So this is really good. Okay, next, this one I love. This is the Minori highlighter in the shade Champagne. This is so good. Very lightweight. This is such a beautiful shade. I love this. Very, very thin. So this is a thinner consistency than the Rose Ink highlighter, but they're still really thin. I mean, they don't like leave a crazy apparent anything on the skin. Really good. I really like Minori as a brand. They have blushes that are also really nice that I do like, but this is like by far their stand-up product for me. I am a really, really big fan. And if you can, I feel like they were sold out for a while at Credo, I believe. Maybe it wasn't Credo. They were sold out for a while somewhere, I believe, but now that I believe they're back in stock, but this is really, really good. Okay, next let's move on to powders really quick, and then we have what I feel like is my biggest category, blush. So let's get into it. Powders. So I have two powders. I feel like no one's going to be surprised if you watch this channel. The first one is the Kosas powder. I mean, you know I've loved this. It's just so good. I have two shades, but this is the shade Cushiony. I also have the shade Pillowy. Really, really good. Pillowy's a little bit more neutral. This is a little bit more on the yellow side. Both great powders. I feel like this one works better for me right now in like winter when I'm not tan at all, and like Pillowy works better for me when I'm tan or it's not cold outside anymore, because the cold is killing me. This is really good. It sets everything into place, but it makes my skin look really natural. I mean, I mean, I know this has been talked about like a ton on TikTok and everywhere, so you've probably like heard about this, but this is really freaking good. You just kind of blend it in. It makes your skin look like skin. It doesn't mattify too much if you're not a big powder person. Like if you don't like powder, this is, ooh, something just broke off this. Oh my gosh. Every time, I have multiple of these, every time with this compact, I also have the bronzer, the end breaks, which is annoying, but it's probably something I'm doing. It's so annoying. Anyways, but this is really, really good, and it just makes my skin look so healthy, but sets it in place, but still gives me natural dew. Obsessed. Okay, next. Arguably the best powder that's ever existed is next. This is the Amicole setting powder, and this is in the shade just translucent. This is so good. The best part about this, besides the fact that it's like a soft matte, but it still lets your natural skin kind of poke through. It doesn't make you look like a dead corpse. I mean, if you over apply it, anything will make you look like a dead corpse, but this is so good. The best part about this is the component. So this is like a dish kind of at the top, and then you open it. Oof. You see all that powder pop out, and then I'm not going to show you too much, but it's like that. You can take a little bit, put it on your brush, and then tap it out on here, and then kind of apply the perfect amount. Instead of over applying or wasting product when you tap it off, you can kind of put it on here. It's amazing. This component is amazing. I believe another brand, is it NARS, has a powder. No, it's not NARS. Maybe it is NARS that has a compact like this. It's just so freaking good. Okay, next let's move on to blushes. So I have kind of blush by category. So we're gonna kind of, let's do the smallest category first, which is powder blush. So the first one is this one, and I don't think anyone's gonna be surprised. The Jason Wu Beauty powder blushes. You guys, the trios, oh, they're so good. So I have 3 of believe they have 5. I have 3 of them. So this is the Sext palette, or the shade 05 palette. So good. I mean, this shade specifically, sweetie. But if you are having a hard time with blushes never being pigmented enough, sweetie, run. Sweetie, run and grab these. These are so freaking pigmented. It's like, it's terrifying. Then I also have this one, which is so good. This one is the Drive to Napa palette. This is probably my most used of all of them. I use this one and this one the most, but they're all beautiful. They just melt into the skin. They don't all have the same consistency, so this one is more of a shimmery style, but if you're a big fan of like that, like Charlotte Tilbury kind of vibe, that one's great. This one is so good. I love this one. It's just so good. And then next, if you are loving that like burnt cheek kind of look, or like you want something that's more red for that kind of like cold, like just been outside makeup trend that's kind of happening right now, are you gagged? Because I know I am. It's so freaking good. The pigmentation on this is like criminally pigmented. It's so good. It's so good. I love, and they're really easy to blend out. So if you make a mistake, which like I always do with blush, you can blend these out really, really easy, and they're so affordable. I believe each palette is like $19 or something like that. $19, $18. They're really, really good and worth the money, and you will never run out because they're so pigmented. Okay. Okay, next let's move on to the next powder blush. These ones. So these are, actually I have another one of these, but I don't know where it is. This is the Bare Minerals, what is it, Gen Nude Bronzer Blush Duo thing. These are so good. So this is Kiss of Rose, and then this is Kiss of Pink. I'm actually wearing a little bit of Kiss of Pink on my cheeks right now. These are so good. They melt into the skin just like the Jason Wu Beauty ones. They're not apparent on the skin. They last super long. They are so pretty, and they kind of play into that trend that's happening right now where people love a really, really like shimmery, almost like they like to layer their blushes, but they like something a little bit shimmery on top, just slightly shimmery. This kind of gives me a similar vibe to the Hourglass blushes that I know some of them are more shimmery, but this kind of has like a sheen. It gives you like a healthy looking cheek, but it's a powder. This is so good, and this is so good for layering on top of cream blushes, which is what I've done today. Is I've layered. It's just so good. I've talked about these a million times. Let's move on to liquid. So oh, I didn't grab all of them. I own all of the shades, but that's okay. The Say Beauty liquid blushes. These are so freaking good. If anyone that was like here from the beginning, I feel like, of my channel knows how much I love these, but these are amazing. So I did grab some of my favorites. So this is the shade Rosy, Everyday, amazing shade. The shade Spicy is so freaking good. The shade Chili is really good. I mean, all of these are incredible, but and this is Peachy, which I can wear when I'm like for not really wearing a ton of makeup or bronzer, but it just gives me a little something without being too much, you know what I mean? Like a subtle hint, but it's like a really subtle hint on me, but it looks so freaking good. I'm obsessed with these. They're so good. They blend out seamlessly. They're so pigmented. They're very pigmented, so be careful, but they're not as challenging to blend out as the Rare Beauty liquid blushes, because those ones dry down really quickly. These do last me all day, but they don't necessarily last me quite the same way as the Rare Beauty ones do, because those ones are great. They like dry down crazy quick, so they have like a grip, kind of, they like death grip onto your face and they don't move. These are still really long lasting, just not necessarily quite as intense as those ones, but these are really good. Okay, next let's move on to stick blushes. So I have a couple stick blushes and they kind of do different things. So first I have the Ilia multi-stick. I've used this the most this year. Like, this is amazing. Oh no. Tied with one. I'm actually tied with all three. This is really, really good. It's dewy, but it's like, it gives perfect pigmentation, but it's like, so anyone I've recommended this to has loved this. My sister, I can't remember what shade she got, is like obsessed with this, which makes me so happy. I love when people like my recommendations. It's just so good, and it's so dummy proof and easy to blend out. And they have a million colors, but they also have, I believe they have bronzer and also highlight in there. I believe, I could be wrong, but these are so, so good. I wear the shade Ladybird in this, and I am obsessed with this. It's so good. I'm actually wearing this underneath the other blush, the powder blush that I wore, the Bare Minerals one, but I applied such a little amount, and I kind of layered because I wanted this makeup to last me all day, and it's gonna be a long day for me, you guys. This is so good. Okay, next, let's move on to this one. So this one is unbelievably expensive, but I can't stop with this one. This is the Victoria Beckham blush in the shade Playground. I'm ordering another one of these, not in the shade Playground, but in a different shade. I'm obsessed with these. They're unbelievably expensive. This is a $42 blush, and I know you're about screaming, crying, throwing up, because you're like, why? And I agree with you. But also, like, I love it and I can't stop. Like, this is just so good. The shades are really unique. It has like the perfect natural finish to the face, but it's not matte, it's not too dewy, it's like really natural looking on the skin. The shades are also something about this. This is really unique because I haven't found another brand that does shades quite like this. And I feel like that's really, really, not weird of me to say, but I feel like they're really unique in the shades that they give, because even if it's something you're like, oh, there's something similar, which there are things that are similar in tone, nothing is quite like this. This is so freaking good. I'm obsessed with this, and the wear on this is amazing. They last all day. Okay, next we're gonna go with something affordable. These are so good. This is the Jason Wu Beauty Hot Fluff, which is like a 3-in-1, so you can wear it on cheeks, your lips, your eyes, and this is so freaking good. This is my current favorite shade. This is the shade Nutmeg Spice. This is so good. I'm obsessed with this. It's matte, but it like still lets some dew through your cheeks. I've worn this on camera before and like used it in a video, like filming. It is so good. These are like $12. Run and get them. And the shades, they have unlimited shades. Not unlimited shade, but they have so many shades, and they're so pigmented, so pigmented, so pigmented. Trust me when I say it's so pigmented. Don't overdo it. Don't overdo it. But this is so good. I'm obsessed with it, and it lasts so long on the cheeks. Like, this is really, truly like an all-day wear one. I'm obsessed with these. Okay, next I'm moving on to creams. So these are my more long-lasting creams. So I'm not going to get too crazy and go into crazy explanation because I've talked about these specifically a ton. The first one is the Tower 28 cream blushes. Oh, why was that open? The Tower 28 cream blushes. I'm obsessed with these. They have like the perfect texture. They last all day. Their shades are beautiful. They melt into the skin. They look super natural, but they give you a beautiful flush, like a really healthy looking cheek. And the dew is like perfect. I am obsessed with these, and they blend beautifully with your fingers, with a brush, with a sponge. Amazing. Okay, next we have the LYS Beauty cream blushes. These are so good. I mean, this is the shade Confident. Oh, I didn't mention what shade. I'll list all my shades down below, but this is my most used one in Tower 28. This is Magic Hour, and then this orange one, which is amazing in summer, is the shade Golden Hour. So good. This is the shade Confident. Again, this is so good. I love these blushes. They're so long lasting. They're so pigmented. They are so pigmented. It is so pigmented. It can be a mistake real quick, but it's easy to blend out, which is nice, and it lasts all day. It is a really, really, really long-wearing, long-lasting blush. I'm obsessed. Okay, next, my next long-lasting blush, Rose Ink. The Rose Ink cream blushes are so long-lasting. and so pigmented. They are so good. I love these. My favorite of these two is this shade here, which is the shade Foxglove. I'm obsessed. They melt into the skin. They have a more unique textures where they're kind of like a little bit more whipped feeling, and they last unbelievably long on the cheek. They wear all day. I mean, just all three of these are just incredibly long lasting, and they are beautiful. Their shade ranges are beautiful, and all three of these brands have expanded their shade range, and they're amazing. And I think if you have a darker complexion and you struggle with pigmentation, I would say that, I mean, all three of these brands have really good shades for darker skin, but I would say definitely LYS Beauty, because they do complexion like no other, and Rose Inc. Next, we're moving on to bronzer, and I have a couple of options, so let's get into it. My favorite cream bronzer stick has definitely been the LYS Beauty cream bronzer stick, in the shade Harmony specifically, but these are so freaking good, so creamy, melt into the skin. I've tried all of these on camera. They melt into the skin. The undertones are amazing. I really struggle with undertones because I feel like everything's so orange. Like, why am I a carrot? Why am I a cheetah? Why are you doing this to me? This is like the perfect, like, neutral. They have the perfect neutral but still warm, where it's in a contour where it's like too cool tone or too ashy looking. These are amazing. And if you struggle with finding good bronzers, the shade range here is amazing, and especially if you have a darker complexion, check these out. They're amazing. Okay, next we have another cream bronzer. This is from the brand Rose Inc., and I just love this. This is probably my most used because it's so neutral, but it still has a touch of warmth to it where I don't feel like it looks ashy or dead or too gray on my skin. This is the shade Seychelles, and this is so good if you're looking for an amazing alternative to the Chanel bronzer. This is a really good one. I love this one. If you also are looking for something that's a little bit more warm, because I do feel like the skew is a little bit more neutral in general, the Say Beauty cream bronzer in like a tub like this, just like a thing like this, is really good as well. But this is just, for me, it has like the perfect, it's a really thin consistency. It melts into the skin seamlessly. It isn't too warm. It's just so good. Okay, next I have powder bronzer. So I don't think anyone's gonna be surprised by this first one. This one is the Ilia bronzer. I've talked about this a ton. It melts into the skin, completely disappears into the skin. It is so freaking good, and just gives me the perfect amount of bronze. I'm obsessed with this. I mean, I've already hit pan. It's just so good. This is the shade Novelty. Amazing. I love this bronzer. I've talked about it a ton. And then next, another LYS Beauty is the LYS Beauty Powder Bronzer, and this is really nice. Melts into the skin in the same way, and just, again, the undertones are amazing here. LYS Beauty just does such a good job with their undertones. This is the shade Harmony again. Just so good, just melts into the skin. I'm obsessed with it. So good. Next, we're moving on to lips, and I'm excited. I also need to apply my lipstick right now, so this is perfect. The lip liners. So I love these Victoria Beckham lip liners. They're so good. They just melt into this like melt into the lip. They just glide easily, but they aren't too creamy where it kind of slips and slides, but they have, and also that they don't last as long. Like, these last so long on the lips. They're so good, and the shades are amazing. If you struggle with finding a good like lip liner that isn't too warm, these tones are really good. And the shade 05, which is a lip liner I'm wearing today, oh no, I'm not, I'm wearing a different one actually. These are really good. I'm obsessed with these. Like, I've talked about these a ton. You're over it. I'm not. I'll never be over it. Next, I have these ones. These are the Jason Wu Beauty lip liners. I have a couple of these. This is actually the shade I'm wearing today. I'm going to reapply it right now. They are so creamy. They melt into the skin. Melt into the skin. What a weird statement. They melt into the lip. Whoa, that looks crazy. And they are just so good. And I don't know, they make everything last really long, but they're really creamy. If you're a big fan of the KKW Beauty or any of those kind of same vein, the ColourPop lip liners, these kind of have that same vibe, and they're very affordable. They're so good. So the shade I just applied is the shade Luminous. And then this shade that I have here is the shade Sill, and then I have a couple others. These are really good. And then lastly, for a really affordable one, besides the Jason Wu Beauty one, if you are someone with a darker complexion, because I feel like a lot of the time lip liners are not for people with darker skin, because they're just too light or too pink. Mented. Mented Cosmetics does such a good job with their lip liners. I'm obsessed with these. And I have 3 shades here. I actually have more, but this is the shade Lala, which is a more pinky tone. This is the shade Bear and the shade Dope. If you're looking for good brown lip liners, ladies, Mented is your girl for brown lip liners. I mean, Victoria Beckham Beauty has great ones too. The shade 05 and 06, I believe, are two really, I think 06, are two really, really good brown liner colors. But then Jason Wu Beauty, the one I just applied, is great. But there's also, like, Mented has such a vast range, and it also works for, if you have a lighter complexion, they have great shades for you too. Really, really good. Okay, next let's move on to lipsticks. So I have like two lipsticks that are kind of my standouts for the year. The first one are the Merit Beauty lipsticks. I have two shades in this. I have the shade Slip in the shade L'Avenue. Amazing. They're just so good, so creamy. They hydrate, but they last, but they aren't like the longest lasting lipstick. But like if you struggle with dry lips and you're like lipsticks that last long, like more matte, just don't do it. These are really, really good. I love these. And the component is amazing. Feels heavy, feels really luxurious, and I really, really like the shades. Okay, next, no one's gonna be shocked by this because this has been my favorite for years, the Vegas lipstick from, specifically the shade from Kosas. I'm gonna apply this because this is what I was wearing. It's just so good. So this is like a beautiful beigey nude. It plays so well with brown lip liners, and it's just like my go-to. Like if I have an event and I need a nude lip, that's the one I'm going for because it hydrates. It is not a thick consistency. It's comfortable to wear all day. It makes my lips look good, if I do say so myself, and it plays really, really well with different tones of brown lip liners, but also darker pink lip liners. It's just so good. I love this. Okay, next let's move on to like lip oils, lip balm type situation. So I have two liquid lip oils, liquid lip balms that I've been obsessing over, and the Ami Collet is one of them. It's so good. Makes my lips super hydrated, looks really good. It's like so glossy, so pretty, but isn't super, super sticky, which I love. And this universal shade is amazing. I do believe that they came out with two other shades, a clear and a more pinky tone. I might just be for holiday, but this is really, really good. I'm obsessed with this. And the next, I've talked about these a ton, but look how empty I am. I have another one, don't worry. These are the liquid lip balms from Rowan Beauty. I'm obsessed with these. They are so freaking hydrating. They're so hydrating. They are so hydrating. If you want to have like the least flaky lips on earth, like this is like so good. Like this is perfect, and it has like a silkiness to it that traditional like liquid like lip oils and stuff like that don't really have, because they have a little bit more of a tackiness to them. This is like a silkiness to it. It is the most luxurious feeling product, and although it is a little bit pricey, I do believe that they run $26. They are really, really good, and they give you like the perfect healthy looking lip, and the pigmentation isn't so intense that it's like overtaking your life, but it's like perfectly pigmented. I don't know how to explain it. I'm obsessed. Okay, next let's move on to mascaras. I have a couple, and I'm gonna like quickly go through what I like them for because they're all for different things. If I'm looking for volume, the Jones Row Beauty mascara is so good. If I'm looking for a night out mascara, I'm going here. This is amazing. This was my favorites last year. This is my favorite again this year. I grab this all the time, and specifically if I'm wearing false lashes, this is really good because it gives me enough volume that the false lashes, I'm actually wearing falsies today, the false lashes like mesh into it really well. I don't know, I'm obsessed with this, and it doesn't flake, doesn't run. The brush is amazing. It's like kind of a swoop. I'm just obsessed. I'm actually need to purchase a new one, and that's what I'm gonna do when I'm done filming this. Okay, next let's go on to like my overall favorite. I don't know why I stuttered there. The Ilia Limitless Mascara. This is so good. It gives me like, I can get really simple looking lashes. I can build it up. This is like, I can't get enough of this. I'm always so happy with how my lashes look when I'm wearing this. And it lasts perfectly well on me. It just, I don't know. I'm obsessed with this. I mean, you know, the second I tried this, I've had 100 tubes of this. I'm obsessed with this. Okay, next let's move on to tubing mascara. So I have two tubing mascaras here. I have the Merit Beauty tubing mascara and the Cali Ray Beauty mascara. If you are a big fan of tubing mascaras, these are great. The Merit Beauty one is a little bit more of a traditional style mascara wand, and the way that it applies is a little bit more of a traditional style, and also the way it breaks apart is a little bit more of a traditional tubing mascara style. This is really good, and it doesn't run. I have really weepy eyes. Mascara always runs on me. This doesn't run. It's amazing. And I love the way that it makes my lashes look. And then I have this one, which is the Cali Ray Beauty one. And this one is amazing. But what I will say is the mascara wand collects a lot of products, so you have to clean it off. But it gives me a really, really beautiful lash. I do love this for more of a natural lash kind of day. It's so good. Doesn't run. Great on my bottom lashes. Huge fan. And then lastly, I'm really impressed with this mascara. So this is getting like a shout out. This one, the Tower 28, the new mascara. This is so freaking good. I'm obsessed with this. I did a whole review on this, so I'm not going to blab on, but this is an amazing mascara. If you have sensitive eyes, definitely check this out. If you struggle with mascaras that don't kind of hold on, this is really good because this is not waterproof, but it isn't, it's like water resistant. It's a really good mascara. I don't know. I'm obsessed with this. This is really, really good. Okay, next let's move on to eyeliners. So I only have a few that I want to talk about. When I'm talking about liquid liner, the best liquid liner in the history of the earth, not the history of the earth, but this is so good, is the PYT liquid liners. These are so good. They kind of have like a floppy tip, which I don't love that description. That's not great. But they have a little bit more of a floppy kind of applicator, and they don't budge. They dry down and they do not budge. It's so freaking good. This is a really, 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 really good, long lasting and super unbelievably pigmented not mascara, eyeliner. So good. And if you've been struggling finding a good liquid liner that you want to be super pigmented but also lasts all day and doesn't like crumble, because sometimes liquid liners can crumble, this one is amazing. Okay, so the next we have like pencil eyeliners. Now I have a bunch that I love, like Cali Ray Beauty, but truly the top of my list is the Victoria Beckham eyeliners. I love these for really, really smudgy looks, and they're just amazing. I love these, and they glide easily, but they blend out really, really, really seamlessly. They are amazing. They are pricier, but they are so good. And then next, this one, the Persona Cosmetics eyeliner. I don't know. I didn't grab, you know what? I have so much stuff in front of me. I didn't grab everything, but this is so freaking good. I'm obsessed with this eyeliner. This is the black one. I have all the shades and it doesn't move. This is the most long lasting of all eyeliners I've ever used. Eyeliner. This is so good. I mean, I don't think anyone that's watched this channel before is surprised by this. Okay, next let's move on to primer. So my favorite eye primer is the PYT eye primer. This is so good. This just neutralizes your eyelid color, but also holds onto your eye, like your eyeshadow and everything all day, and it doesn't like get too tacky. It sets beautifully. I don't know, I'm such a big fan. I mean, it's eye primer, there's only so much I can say. Next, let's move on to eyeshadow. So I have a couple of things here. So first, my favorite, most affordable eyeshadows are the PYT eyeshadows. I'm obsessed with these. I actually used this one for the look on my face today. Really, really good. This is the Cool Crew Nude palette. Cool Crew Nude palette. It's so good, but I have 4 of their palettes. I believe they only have 4. They're so good. They're affordable. The pigmentation's amazing. The shimmers are amazing. The powders blend out like a dream. Just there's a little bit of kick up sometimes, so just like make sure to tap it off. But I don't find that these skip or anything like that, and they don't apply patchy when you're blending. You know how you keep blending and you apply more and it blends, and sometimes pigmentation can like, but not pigmentation, but the eyeshadow can get a little patchy. These don't do that. These are amazing. Next, if you like a cream eyeshadow, then this one is my favorite by far. This is the Sephora Clean Monarch palette. I do believe that they might not be selling this anymore, or I'll link it if I can find it, but I feel like I went on recently to find this and I couldn't find it. But it's the Sephora Clean Bounce eyeshadow palette, and they're like, you can see that they're like putty style. They're so good, so pigmented, and last really long. And these are really much like slept on. They're so good. Okay, next we're gonna move on to another eyeshadow palette. So specifically this eyeshadow palette, this one is Persona Cosmetics, and this is their Identity palette, and this is so good. This is like an amazing neutral palette. I've talked about these a million times, but these are so good. I'm obsessed with this palette, and the way that it blends is beautifully, but I know that this is more expensive. This is $42, so if you're looking for really good mattes and shimmers that are kind of in that same vibe, the PYT eyeshadow palettes are really good. I like them a lot. Next, we have single eyeshadow. So my favorite single eyeshadow eyeshadows are from Jones Road Beauty. They are so good. They have a bunch of different ones. They have mattes, they have shimmers. They blend like a dream. They are just so good. The longevity is there. The blend is there. I'm a huge fan of these. Check them out. Okay, next we go on to my more luxe style eyeshadow palettes, and these are from Rowan Beauty, and I'm obsessed with these. So I have 2 eyeshadow palettes here. I have the Gold Lust eyeshadow palette. I've used all of these on camera before. The Mood Forever eyeshadow palette, and all of these kind of have a different texture. They're amazing. They blend like a dream. The pigmentation is amazing. And then I also have this one, which is newer, which is called their Disco Eye, and I believe it's in the shade Universal. This is amazing. Their eyeshadows, you guys, like you can use this and just use your fingers to blend them out, and I feel like that is really impressive. Just use your finger, you don't need a brush, and they just melt into the skin. They are so good. I am obsessed with these eyeshadow palettes. They are so, so good. Lastly, we're gonna do nails. My standout favorite, like traditional, like nail polish, girl, get it together, are the Olive and June nail polishes. These are my most worn colors right now, so I wanted to mention them. The shade Obsessed is a beautiful like purple tone. It's just amazing. E&M, which is black. I'm actually wearing it on my nails today. And then this one, which is the shade SC, is beautiful. But if you have to get one thing from Olive and June, it is their top coat. It is literally the best top coat that's ever existed. I don't care what anyone says. No one on earth can tell me that there's a better like top coat. There's none. Like Chez Vite, all the brands, Essie, there's just none that is as good as this one. These are so good. Check them out. Okay, next. Dazzle Dry. I'm obsessed with these. I'm obsessed with Dazzle Dry. It's so good. I've talked about this a ton. I've done a whole video. So long lasting. The most long lasting of all, like anything that I can wear that isn't gel. Now, Olive and June lasts unbelievably long, is unbelievably shiny, can look like gel, but this one is truly like the most long lasting. It's so good. This one is my current favorite shade, which is the shade Zest. It's so good. It's my favorite like winter fall kind of shade, but I also have a black shade. I have a bright pink, like not bright pink, bright red. It's just, these are amazing, and those shades specifically, like their reds are amazing for right now, Zest is amazing for right now, and their black is really amazing for right now, and I do believe they have a really good brown color that I have my eye on. If I'm remembering correctly, they're just so good. I'm obsessed. And yeah, that is it for this video. That is it for this like Clean Beauty Code Awards, like my favorite clean beauty makeup from 2022. I would love to know what your favorites were. Let me know down below. I'm also going to be doing skincare and all that jazz in a separate video. This is the longest video ever, so I didn't want to like do it all in one. But yeah, that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye guys.